Hello there, and welcome to another episode of Success Diaries. Our guest today is Grace Amoka, popularly known as the Master Teacher. Grace Amoka is a visionary leader, mentor, and coach with an unwavering commitment to transforming education and empowering individuals to achieve their fullest potential. Her journey is a testament to bold decisions, relentless passion, and an unshakable belief in the power of education as a catalyst for change. Grace began her professional career in computer engineering, earning a degree from Covenant University. However, she boldly pivoted to the field of education, a move that allowed her to fulfill her deep-seated passion for teaching and mentorship. Her educational journey didn't stop there. She pursued a postgraduate diploma in education and a master's in education in educational technology, equipping herself with the tools to imagine education in a fast-changing world. As an author, Grace has penned books that reflect her experiences and lessons learned, including Dear Teacher, Beautiful Scars, Share and Shine, The Educator's Social Media Strategy, and Colors of Hope. Each work is a reflection of her belief in the power of storytelling to heal, inspire, and transform lives. Grace Amoka is not just a teacher. She's a trailblazer, a mentor, and a force for good, passionately shaping the future of education and empowering others to rise to their highest potential. Grace Amoka, welcome to Success Diaries.
Thank you very much for having me.
You're known as the Master Teacher, a title that speaks volumes. What's inspired you to embrace this role?
Yeah, so I've told this story too many times, but it's still the same. And when people ask me, why are you a teacher? My response is usually, why not? I mean, if I don't do it and every other person chooses not to do it, then who will do it? And just to say that I have a background in computer engineering. So I really never started out wanting to be a teacher because all the teachers that I knew growing up, they were poor. They were not rated in society. I mean, no child or hardly any child grows up and wants to become a teacher because of the models that we have. Fast forward to when I graduated from school, computer engineering, I really wanted to know what I would spend the rest of my life doing. And to give you context, I went to a university where they were big on purpose. You know, they used to call us kings and queens. So Hebron, the birthplace of kings and queens. And we were always taught to look for big problems in society to solve. So, I mean, we had courses like entrepreneurial development studies, and we just were told that we could actually change the world. So coming out of that kind of university, I really wanted to know, I mean, beyond, computer engineering was nice. I mean, I graduated with the second class upper, but I didn't see myself doing that in the long run. I had always loved to work with children. So I would say that somehow the dots kind of started connecting. So during my National Youth Service, which is a one-year compulsory thing that every Nigerian graduate has to go through, I had just one prayer, you know, God, I really wanted to know what you want me to spend the rest of my life doing. So I was teaching in this school where the kids there were paying school fees in millions. But then my community development was a place where the kids couldn't even afford 1,500 naira for school fees. And that was the first time I encountered anything called education inequity. So that was one encounter. The second was I met a teacher in that school who, you know, were having conversations, and I asked him, how did you get stuck teaching? And he's like, no, stuck is not the word, that he always knew from when he was age 8 that he wanted to be a teacher. Wow. And as he narrated his experience growing up, it sounded like it took me back to my childhood. So when we were kids, my sister and I would have these imaginary classrooms. We had imaginary students and we would teach them. Of course, at the time, all we knew about our teachers is they used to use the cane on us. So we used to use the cane on our imaginary students. But that experience with that teacher, it kind of gave me that validation that, okay, I could actually become a teacher.
Yes.
But then teachers didn't really have money. And I knew that I wanted, the baby girl life. So I got into the world of business and just started to think about the business of education, basically. I also come from a family of teachers. My father was a lecturer for 42 years. My mom as well, she's in the nursing profession, but then she got to tutor nurses as well. My brother is a lecturer, so I would say teaching chose me more than I chose it. And what I've been able to do over the years is to find, like I said, what's the business of education? Do teachers have to be the way that we've always known them? Can these narratives be changed by people like me? So I like to see myself as someone that would model new possibilities for the education profession. Yeah, so that's why, I wear it very proudly. I call myself the master teacher. So I started calling myself the master teacher. And now, yes, I did. And I like to tell people that people will call you what you call yourself.
Right.
So you need to be the one that embraces the value that you bring to the world and be bold about it. We live in a society where people pushing negative agendas, they are bolder than us who claim to know the truth. So for me, it's a challenge to say that I have what it takes to change the narrative of what it means to be a teacher in Africa. And that's my mission, very simple.
And I believe that's what led to the Profitable Teacher Coaching Program.
Absolutely.
So what are the biggest challenges educators face today? Is it the income challenge? And how can they overcome these challenges?
I think it's a combination of challenges. Usually when people think about teachers, the first thing that comes to mind is, we're not paid enough. While that is true, there's a deeper issue. There's something in education we talk about a lot. It's called the Pygmalion effect, which essentially says that students will rise to the expectations that we have of them, or they will fall to, if we have low expectations of them, they will meet those expectations. If we have higher expectations of them, they will also meet those expectations.
Yes.
I believe that it applies both for students, adults, anybody. So imagine that you're in a profession where, in words, in action, everybody has told you that you are bottom rung of society's ladder. What does it take to get into the teaching profession? Some people don't even see it as a profession. Your JAMB scores for people in Nigeria, you don't need to do much to become a teacher. So the entry requirements are very low. So teachers go in feeling like, I didn't really have any other thing to do. So let me just use this to hold body before the real job comes. So that perception alone poses a challenge to a teacher's identity. So teachers go into classrooms feeling like, I'm just a teacher. I'm just that person that stands in front of the chalkboard or the whiteboard and dispenses information. They don't even pay me well enough. So the teaching profession is not able to attract the best talent. So those are some of the foundational issues that then stem into what I call symptoms. So the symptoms then look like teachers are lashing out on their students. When you see all those short clips or videos where a teacher is dealing with a child, I'm like, that's trauma speaking.
Yes.
The teacher herself is going through a lot of issues, and that's not one in a million scenarios. That's like what you typically will find with a lot of teachers. It's a trend. So I feel like the challenges are more internal for teachers. So I like to ask, when I work with my teachers, I ask them, if you're on the way and a soldier stops you and provokes you, like he makes you very aggravated, what are you going to do? What's your guess?
Maintain my steez.
You will maintain your steez. So when that same thing happens in my classroom, a student is doing that to me. When we say things like, she brought out the beast in me. If the beast wasn't there in the first place, there's no beast to come out. So exactly. So I think we need a lot to do with changing who we are as humans first. And then before we start to think, it's simply because of the education system and how it is. So there's that personal responsibility. And then there's a lot we can do in terms of policy, and all of those other high level things when we think about leadership in education.
Yes.
But I really believe that teachers need to take, so to your question of what can teachers do to
overcome
those challenges. Yes. Number one will be to take responsibility. I mean, the example that I just gave you, you can exercise self-control. You can decide to take your destiny into your own hands. I think about sectors like the cooking industry. There was a time where cooking was seen as just a domestic thing. But then you had institutions like the Le Cordon Bleu of the world. You had, I think, Julia Child. Currently, you have people like Gordon Ramsay who have like entire cooking shows. And now cooking is considered like a professional art.
Yes.
And there are people that literally want to go into that. So I believe that if teachers take that responsibility to say that I want to be part of the people that change the narrative of what it means to be a teacher in my country, for example, there's a lot we can do. I think teachers need to come out of hiding and lend their voices to start to advocate, because it's someone that has walked in your shoes that will be able to know where it pinches. Yeah. So if teachers are not coming out and they are not where it matters. Recently I was at a conference. It was a MasterCard conference where, there were ministers from different African countries, and the teachers, it was the first time they were having teachers in that kind of forum.
Okay.
But in that forum, that was where key decisions were being made. We were just 4 teachers, and then there were ministers, there were people from international donor organizations, and all of that. We are the ones that will be able to say teachers need to be remunerated better. The conditions and standards need to be, elevated. So teachers need to move from that place of, it's only in my classroom that I'm relevant. Like, the world is your stage. You need to come out. We need to be seen as intellectuals and not, people think teaching is just about writing ABCDs on the board. That's because of what we have told the world teaching is about. But if we step forward and say there's more that goes on in being able to elevate the acquisition of knowledge and the application in real world scenarios, then people start to see us as high intellectuals. They start to see us as creators. They start to see us as influencers for social good. So, I talk to teachers all the time, and I say, it has to start with you. How do you see yourself? How do you see the skills that you need to teach in the classroom? And when I break it down, I help teachers to see that it's not just writing on the board. You're an expert project manager. You're an expert planner because you're planning lessons every day. You're an expert people person because you're dealing with several kinds of personalities. You're an expert in differentiated learning. When we break it down, we're just phenomenal people, but we need to see that value first in ourselves, then the world will start to see it. So teachers need to rise up and advocate for themselves and the profession. We need to call ourselves to higher standards. So those are some of the things. Then while we're waiting for the utopia of education, and let me explain what that means. It's my personal theory that while we wait for the day when, our classroom sizes will be just the right size, teachers will be regarded in society, while we wait for that day to come, teachers need to think about other things they could do. So one of the things I teach people in my community is how to expand your personal economy. How do I, using the skills I already have, how do I make more money? So a skill like speaking, a skill like writing, because every single day you're having to write lesson plans. Why are teachers not the ones writing textbooks?
That's a very good question.
Why are we not the ones making instructional materials and selling to other people? Why are teachers not coaching parents on how to effectively manage, discipline issues and other interventions that they require in their homes?
And you mean this as other sources of income,
Absolutely.
Right?
And these are things that I, have done several times. So those are some of the recommendations that I will have.
Writing a book is no small feat. What was your writing process like? You wrote several books from different categories. Dear Teacher, Beautiful Scars, Share and Shine. Dear Teacher was about Letter to Teachers, Beautiful Scars is about grief, and Share and Shine is about social media strategies. What inspired you to write them, and what is your writing process like?
So how do I get to write on diverse topics? And the
Yes.
answer is simple. I'm first a human being
Right.
with human experiences
Right.
before I'm a teacher.
Right.
So that's another thing teachers need to do. You need to recognize that you have so much more to contribute to the world than simply teaching science or English or mathematics. So all the books that I've written are from my lived experiences and the experiences of other people around me. So Beautiful Scars, in 2019, my sister was coming home and she had an accident and she died. And I realized how much people don't talk about grief and grieving. People feel like, oh, once the funeral is over, that's the end.
Yeah,
but that's
true.
really the beginning of that process where you need to really deal with the questions that you have and just the pain that comes with losing someone that is very dear to you. So what I did was to put down my experiences, the experiences of a few other people, and help people understand how to navigate that journey of losing a loved one. So that's what Beautiful Scars is about. The other one is Dear Teacher. Very interesting. It's like letters to teachers, you know, about things that I would like them to know, things their students want them to know. Things like, Dear Teacher, when I come into the classroom, I just watched my parents fight at home. And because of that, I'm not emotionally ready to learn today. Things like, Dear Teacher, I wished you saw how much I'm trying to be the best person that you need me to be. So it's getting into the minds of your students and know that, I mean, they're human beings. They may be little, but they're human beings and they have their own experiences and the challenges that they are faced with. So I think we can do better in being mentors to them and being that shoulder to help them navigate lives. You know, they're little humans, but they have big emotions. How do I get it right? So one thing that I do a lot is I get out of my head. And people that struggle with writing, I find that's what they do. So in your head, you want to write an entire book. It doesn't work that way. Writing is one of the biggest gifts I believe that God has given to us. It helps us to make our thoughts or our thinking visible. So you have a lot of thoughts running through your mind and you're trying to figure them out. The first thing I'll tell you to do is to write it down. So I journal a lot, and I've seen that from my journaling, you know, the dots begin to connect. I start to make sense of what I'm thinking. So I write every day, and this is one of the ways that I've seen them emerge into books. Writing a book is not as difficult as we make it out to be.
Really?
No, it's not. In many ways, it's talking about your experiences, and some people feel like, oh, but I'm not qualified. And I like to say, you're qualified to help, even if it's just one person.
Yes.
And that one person has other people that are like them. So if I've gone through something and I've emerged on the other side, then I qualify to help another person navigating it. Many times we don't know how common our experiences in life are, and that's what holds us back. Yeah, so I would say if you have something in your heart to share with the world, put it in a book. You know, start by doing a first dump. So dump all the ideas that you have on paper or on your computer, and then you start to refine as time goes. But if you never write a first version, there's nothing to edit. Yeah, so get out of your head and just put it out there.
Speak with Grace Academy is a unique initiative. Why did you feel it was important to teach children and teenagers public speaking?
I thought it was important because of my personal experience. I mean, when people see the things that I do today and how confident I look, nobody believes that I was that child that considered herself a permanently timid and shy person.
Permanently?
Yes. I mean, there was a point I was just like, I'm just going to be like this all my life. But then I've seen from my own life how personal development and being intentional about growth in certain areas have made me come from that person to who I currently am. I've missed out on opportunities because I couldn't articulate my thoughts well. And it just makes sense that if we start out earlier than later.
Yeah.
Imagine how many adults. Research has it that 75% of human beings have glossophobia, which is the fear of public speaking. 75%.
Wow, that's a large number.
That's a large number. And to, drop this number, we need to start early. We need to start to teach children about leadership. And public speaking is one solid way to do that. How do they express themselves? So whether they want to be entrepreneurs, they want to be leaders of industries, they want to be employees, you need to be able to articulate and communicate your thoughts effectively. And that's why, Speak with Grace Academy is very important.
Wow, that's a very brilliant initiative, really. So where can our viewers find you online, the academy or whatever you do?
So on YouTube, Grace Amoka, Instagram, LinkedIn, everywhere. Facebook is Grace Amoka, the same person, yeah. And from there, you can then see the other expressions of the things that I do.
Finally, if there is one piece of advice you give our viewers looking to make a bigger impact, what would it be?
One advice would be start where you are with what you have.
Oh.
There will always be someone who seems to have more than you do. So if you're waiting for that time, there's this perfection myth that we have, and it's always a moving target. So there's no place you're going to get to where you feel like you're ready. So start where you are, start with what you have and with the people around you. That would be my one piece of advice.
All right. Thank you, Grace Amoka, for being on Success Diaries. It was really fun and I learned a lot from you.
It was my pleasure being here and sharing.